G'day guys, thought it was probably about time that I introduced myself. My name's Gavin. I'm approaching my 6th decade of following St Kilda. A few highs, lots of lows. But anyway, I just wanted to share some thoughts about my early Moorabbin memories while the players are just about to head back to pre-season training for the 1st and 4th years. Anyway, early Moorabbin memories. Driving down South Road, turning into Linton Street with my parents and my brother, parking the car park near the Moorabbin Bowls Club. We'd always get to the game before the second started, so we'd line up in the queue, get a couple of records, filter through all the pictures of the records, seeing any tidbits of information that might be worthwhile looking at. Never read much in those days, but more look at the pictures. And when the gates opened, bolting down to the ground to grab the seat where we wanted to sit, because in the 70s Moorabbin only had one row of seats around the ground. So as where we were sitting, the coach's box was always to our right hand side. So then wait for parents to come down with all their gear, and as soon as they come down, we'd be on the ground kicking the footy. And back in those days, you could always kick the football before the game started in the seconds, at quarter time, half time and 3/4 time. Unfortunately, back in those days as well, as opposed to now, a lot of players did play with concussion. I remember lots of players, Paul Callery for instance, against I think it was Hawthorn. Paul Callery was a very, very small player, got knocked out, came back on the ground, and from memory played pretty well. A lot of players like Paddy McCartan, as opposed to these days, would not have played much football at all for St Kilda, and obviously didn't play much games for St Kilda. Other memories, not necessarily at Moorabbin, but at Waverley, for instance, the kids walking around with the lollies and the drinks, you know, yelling out drinks, lollies, chocolates and potato chips, or the old blokes with the peanuts, throwing bags of peanuts to you. Peanuts, throwing peanuts towards you. Anyway, back to Moorabbin. A couple of players I really liked to watch as a kid one was Glenn Elliott. He wore number 8. He was a centre player. He was gifted, classy. He wasn't very fast, but I liked him as a player. He debuted in 1969, played 138 games, kicked 69 goals, won a Best and Fairest in 1974, and represented Victoria 4 times. Glenn Elliott, loved him as a player. Another player who we got from Claremont in WA, utility player, real hard nut, Russell Reynolds, loved him as a player. He wore number 21. He only played 68 games for us, kicked 30 goals. As I said, he was a utility player. I remember him playing more on the halfback flank, but he was a tough, nuggety type player. He was one of those players that would run through a brick wall for you, for instance. He wasn't very tall, he's only 182 centimetres tall, but I loved him as a player. What do you reckon, Greg and Nick? Who are your favourite players in the 70s?